players clocking in at 11 and 1, two decks that we really haven't seen very much of. So Kenman Sciver and Darien Elderfield get the opportunity to make a name for themselves here, as a win here is going to put them in prime position for top 8.
Yep.
Darien going to start off with a Temple of Deceit.
And both of these decks are very fast.
There's no messing around here. I mean, these are combo decks through and through. Going to suspend a Lotus Bloom. Oh, we got a reader here. Been a little while since we've seen this card, given that eggs is no longer a thing that people can be doing.
There was some talk about this card maybe getting the axe at certain points.
Yep. I think they were correct in taking care of Second Sunrise, however.
I agree. But this card facilitates turn 4 kills by definition. So if you want to have a turn 4 kill in the format, Lotus Bloom is powerful, but it's not too fast.
Lotus Bloom is going to take down to 2. You saw Van Sciver start off with a Noble Hierarch off a Breeding Pool. Looks like it might be time for Serum Visions. And it is for Elderfield. He'll draw a card in Elscry. We'll see where those cards end up going. I'll tell you what, Ad Nauseam is certainly a deck that players don't prepare to play against. It's not terribly popular, so if the format is ripe for this, and you're skilled with the deck, it's a great place to be.
Yep. One of my criticisms of the deck has always been it's a pretty high variance strategy.
Yeah.
Some games you're just missing a piece of the puzzle, and the temples help so much in that regard. And you really aren't doing anything for the first couple turns anyway. It's just setup.
It's set up, Lotus Bloom comes off the suspend, and then it's time to go nuts.
Exactly. So you have some spots in your curve where you can deploy these temples without it tripping up your development.
A Gemstone Mine. And now another Serum Vision. So draw a card. And time to scry again, yet again, excuse me, here for Elderfield. We'll have one on top, one on bottom. And it'll be a passing of the turn back to Van Sciver. And what we know about Infect is he can kill as soon as turn 3, especially through no disruption.
But he's got to have it.
He has to have it. And given Elderfield's start, it feels as though he is forcing Van Sciver to have it.
Are there any counter spells in this Infect list? Sometimes you see spells, Pierces hanging out in the main deck.
No, not going to find that here.
Just a pure race game 1.
Yeah. Looks pretty straightforward to me. There's some stuff in the sideboard, but he might be missing an Infect creature. Uh-oh, we're going regular damage?
This is not where you want to be.
Reggae is not where you want to be.
Well, you know, it makes maybe Ad Nauseam a little bit worse. You're getting 2 points here, 2 points there.
Lotus Bloom going to tick down to 1. There's a Seachrome Coast. Here's Phyrexian Unlife. So for those of you unfamiliar, that's on its way up. Don't you worry. A really strange card. You normally expect the strange cards from Future Sight, but Phyrexian Unlife, you don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. You see Ken's going to take a look at it. And as long as you have 0 or less life, all damage is dealt to you as though its source has Infect.
Kind of comical to play against the Infect deck.
Yes.
But this is about setting things up for Ad Nauseam next turn.
Correct. With this in play and casting Ad Nauseam, you get to draw the whole deck with no punishment.
Do you know what card this is a callback to?
Lich.
Ding! Lich. Great answer.
This is an amateur hour. Dried Arbor going to be searched up. But
I can't read it.
I can't. The text is too small.
It starts, you lose all life. Great place to start. We're going to take that off the screen.
Yeah,
it's impossible for me to read that.
That's hard for you at home. Just 4 black mana.
Let's start here. You lose all life.
Okay.
That's where we start.
Is there any upside to what's going on here?
Yeah,
because all my life is gone.
I think instead of taking damage as Infect, you have to sacrifice a permanent.
Okay, I don't mind.
Deal.
That's fine with me.
Potentially good with Breeding Pit, for example. Make a thing every turn.
Combo.
Other synergies.
Combo deck. Combos from 1995.
Oh, way before then.
Got ourselves a Pendelhaven. Oh, Dried Arbor's feeling frisky. That's coming across. A couple Exalted triggers as well. An attack for 4. Elderfield's going to go down to 14.
Ken just trying to plan B him out of this game. I don't like his odds.
I don't either, unfortunately. He's got to do this regular damage thing. Now Lotus Boom's going to come off a suspend. And Darren wondering if this resolves. The answer is yes. So now he'll get to draw a card.
Now, Darien still needs a payoff card here.
Yep. I mean, if he has not found Ad Nauseam yet, we still have a game. However, if he has, this one's likely over. There's Pentad Prism. Now, kind of the new addition to this deck, too, was Mystical Teachings, because that can find Ad Nauseam. So you, in a roundabout way, actually had 8 copies of Ad Nauseam. Let's see what we have here. A copy of Apostle's Blessing, I believe. So this, I think this is straight up to get a card in the graveyard.
Yep. He's got Become Immense in hand.
Yeah.
And this card not doing a whole lot here.
No.
Maybe you don't exactly know what Darien's doing, but this doesn't seem like the kind of matchup where protecting your creature is the order of the day.
Yeah, Darien's a little confused about what's exactly going on here and why you would be casting this, but it does make sense given the Become Immense in the graveyard. All right. How about another one? Excuse me, Become Immense in hand, building towards the graveyard.
This is a game that I would describe as both decks not firing on all cylinders.
Is that what you'd say? Spoils of the Vault. Well, we'll see what we're naming.
Imagine it's Ad Nauseam.
Hit.
Do you know what this card is a throwback to?
I'm going to go with Demonic Consultation.
Oh, you're on fire.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the one who has all the action here with the old school cards.
Yep. My brain is rocking and a rolling.
But now Darien is going off.
He's rocking and a rolling now too. Darien, this is like when you play Belcher in Legacy. You just turn over your deck when you have no lands. And it says, I'm going to kill you now.
Yep, he gets to draw up a whole deck because he can pay as much life as he wants to. Not pay life, but he can keep repeating the process with that Nauseam because he doesn't die because of Phyrexian Unlife. He can then draws a bunch of Simian Spirit cards, and then Lightning Storm finishes the game off. And in the process of drawing his entire deck, he also draws 3 copies of Patch of Negation, so he has a lot of protection.
A lot, I would agree. He does have quite a bit of protection. So now his deck is in his hand. Simian Spirit Guide is 1. Simian Spirit Guide for 2 red. Let's make it 3. And now it's a Lightning Storm time. And a Lightning Storm is an instant. And so now lands, a bunch of lands. Now this is kind of a wonky card from Cold Snap because most cards from Cold Snap are wonky. It deals X damage to target creature or player where X is 3 plus the number of charge counters on it. How do you put charge counters on this thing? You discard a land card. You put 2 charge counters on Lightning Storm. You may choose a new target for it. Any player may play this ability, but only if Lightning Storm is on the stack.
This is the last card that I ever had the experience of. My opponent cast it in a game, and I literally did not understand what it did.
It's confusing. It's confusing, but he's charging it up with these lands because he's drawn his whole deck. And he's going to throw it all at you.
Yeah.
And you better have a lot of lands.
Putting counters on a spell that is on the stack that either player can do is kind of a confusing concept. But the short version of this is Darien has drawn up his whole deck. He has total control of this. He has all the lands to work for. He's going to build this up to be huge, and there's nothing for Ken to do about this.
That's the kill.
That's the kill.
That's the kill right there. And you mentioned with the protection because of multiple copies of Pact Negation because he has his whole deck in his hand.
Yep.
So, Darien Elderfield is going to win game number 1 here over Ken Van Sciver. Ad Nauseam up a game over Infect. It's a pure race here, folks. That's all this is.
Yeah, when we get to the sideboard here, which we will momentarily, Ken and the Infect deck usually has some counter spells to help interact, but game 1, it's just a race, and Ken never even put an Infect creature on the table.
And he's actually got one of the better counter spells in this particular matchup. We're going to bring it back to the booth here as Darien will get ready for game number 2. Dispel.
Dispel's great.
Fantastic in this matchup. Also, Nature's Claim. 3 of those.
You saw there was a lot of artifacts and enchantments, and it's either got to be Angel's Grace or Phyrexian Unlife to protect you while you cast Ad Nauseam. So Dispel and Nature's Claim are great in this matchup.
So those 5 cards immediately in. Piracy Charm, I would be surprised. The 3 Spell Skites, certainly really good in this matchup. There are 3 Spell Pierces, 2 Spell Skites. Those aren't going to be good here. 3 Twisted Images, and then a copy of Wild Defiance.
Pretty straightforward stuff here. The Dispels, Nature's Claims, the Spell Pierces, just interaction that's good. The counter spells are excellent, and there's so many enchantments and artifacts involved in the combo that the Nature's Claims will be very good as well.
What do you have in the Ad Nauseam sideboard?
3 copies of Darkness. I believe that's Darkness.
That's a legal card.
Yeah,
It's either Darkness or Dark Blast, but Darkness is a fog.
Yeah, I know. I think it actually is Darkness.
Okay. Nice.
Pacification, a Giga Drouse, a Slaughter Pact, 4 copies of Leyline Entity, Laboratory Maniac, Repeal, 2 copies of Esper Charm, and 1. I'm not actually.
It's on me now.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know Patrician Scorn?
I do not know this card.
You do not know free destroy enchantments?
I thought that was Abolish.
No, that's the old one, Patrick.
Okay.
We got to work with Patrick here a little bit for Patrician Scorn. This is where I'm going to be wrong about the card, but I believe we'll have some images of Darkness and Patrician Scorn.
Oh God!
Boom!
Doesn't count. It's on Future Sight.
If you played another white spell this turn, you may play Patrician Scorn without paying its mana cost destroy enchantments. You know what a combo is with that?
White spell.
Yes, but yes, that's.
Now I'm smiling. So
Yeah,
now I'm really pleased with myself.
That's what I believe the name of the card is. I believe it's Enchanted Awareness. There's a card that turns everything into an enchantment.
Oh. Okay.
It's a blue-white, I believe. It's a blue-white rare. It's an enchantment that turns everything into enchantments. There it is. Enchanted Evening. Boom. That's a white spell.
Oh.
So then
okay.
you play that first,
and then
second,
and then.
You know what that is? Yeah,
combo deck.
Everything's dead. Everything is dead.
I think Darkness is sweet in this matchup.
Actually, Darkness is actually
pretty, no,
it's actually
pretty good. Pretty good. A friend of mine, coverage guru Josh Bennett, once had Darkness in his draft deck. He had it laid out. We were playing together.
Okay.
And I go, "What's up with Darkness?" And he goes, "It's spreading." Great answer.
Great answer.
I think Darkness is pretty close to Time Walk in this matchup, and that'll come in.
Yeah, I mean, just it's a fog. The best part. Actually, I want to talk to Darien and just see, 1, how many people he's gotten with it, 2, how many judge calls he's gotten from it, because I hope he's not using the Time Spiral version. I hope he's using like an older version.
I think it's,
what is
I think
this
it's from either Legends or the Dark.
Yeah.
The card Darkness sounds like it would be in the Dark.
It seems as though
right,
that would be the case.
It might have been Legends too. Legends has a lot of odd ducks in it because it's a huge set. People don't actually know this, but there's like 300 some odd cards.
Is that Chronicles?
That's Legends.
That's Legends? Okay, perfect. So here's I wonder what the original text is. Creatures attack and block as normal, but none deal any damage.
Gas.
All attacking creatures are still tapped.
Gas.
Play any time before attack damage is assigned. Magic is wonderful.
Yeah, the updated Darkness text is a little bit simpler, but in this matchup, it's going to be excellent.
Yeah.
Especially a deck that's trying to combo you out with pump spells all in one shot.
Yeah.
If you Darkness when in response to Become Immense, it's not just, well, that turned into anything, but it could be several turns of development.
Yeah.
So
And they're trying to kill you in one shot.
There you go.
That's all they're trying to do. So I actually like the Ad Nauseam side of this matchup. Got some really good sideboard cards.
The Infect players bringing a lot of action to the table, too. The counter spells are excellent here, as are the Nature's Claims, but Darkness is sweet. It's spreading.
Dispel is certainly something you would want to have from the Infect side. So it's actually pretty nice. I mean, do you get to counter Angel's Grace? No. Yeah, unfortunately. But Ad Nauseam is an instant, so you get to counter that. And there's some other instances in the deck that are worth countering. So can you counter Angel's Grace? No. But can you counter other stuff? Yes, you can. So that's why Ken's going to want to bring that in. So how things go. 2 wonky decks here. That's what makes Modern pretty sweet. We've seen a lot of Jund, seen a lot of Grixis this weekend, but time for a little spice here. And also, Elderfield is having one heck of a tournament. He's 11-1 here, folks.
Well, Infect is, low-level spice. It's a deck we're familiar with. We see it a bunch. Not the most popular deck by any means, but you're familiar with Infect if you watch a lot of Modern. Even if you do watch a lot of Modern, this could be the first time seeing the Ad Nauseam deck.
Both players going to get the sideboarding here, and of course, we will be underway for game number 2 in just a moment. But if you are just joining us, Center Phillips, Patrick Sullivan, we are here in the booth. We've got Ken Crocker and Nick Miller in the sideboard, along with the rest of the SCG Live crew. We're here in Charlotte, round number 13 of 15 at SCG Live. Hashtag GPCharlotte for your tweets all weekend long. Or you can send them directly to me at Cedric A. Phillips or to Patrick at Basic Mountain. So we see some fun cards here in Darkness Ad Nauseam, Lightning Storm.
I also would not be shocked if Darien brought in the Giga Drowse, because it has a lot of the same functionality as Darkness does, which is fog you for a turn. And it could also allow Darien to go, at the end of the turn, tap down all your lands, try to mana short you so I can untap and do whatever it is I'm trying to do.
Interesting deck Ad Nauseam is. Just a deck we don't see a ton of, but again, this is the kind of deck that can really take a tournament by surprise. Modern, and this is what's kind of cool about having card pools that are super big, is that if you find a glitch in the matrix, you can have one heck of a tournament.
So this deck has some issues with consistency.
Yes.
There's 3 Spoils of the Vault and 4 copies of Ad Nauseam. It is not great against decks that are able to destroy permanents, particularly at instant speed. So cards like Destructive Revelry can be a little harrowing for the deck to play against. But you got a lot of game against the Juns and the Abzons of the world. They don't have that much meaningful interaction against you.
Well, Van Sciver will be on the play here for game number 2. Some players, oddly enough, have never seen have never seen Ad Nauseam before. So for those who follow Modern quite a bit, but haven't seen this one, it's definitely a lot of fun to watch. It is a unique combo deck.
Yep. I ran into it a few times on Magic Online and definitely got some valuable learning experience playing against that deck.
It feels like it is a pretty, I would say, pretty solid turn 4 combo deck. I feel like it's going to go off turn 4 a lot.
I assume that every time I played against turn 1 Suspend Lotus Bloom, my mentality is I'm dead on the 4th turn, figure out how to be as fast as possible.
All right, now hold on a moment here. Numot the Nummy.
I saw.
You saw this tweet?
Yeah, Foil Goyf.
Kenji Egashira, popular streamer Numot the Nummy, also starting to work his way into doing coverage. We love him. Looks like he cracked a Foil Goyf today. What's it like?
To be so popular, handsome, and lucky.
And now rich.
And rich.
Jeez. Congratulations to him. You better get the sleeve on that thing. I don't even know how much those things are worth. Some of them are worth $15,000. I don't know if that one is.
A couple hundred bones.
Yeah. That is awesome.
Not a bad open by any stretch.
I know the tournament didn't go the way you wanted it to, but you know what?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Get your airfare back. It's not the end of the world.
Minus is wondering, with so many decks leaning on 1 or 2 major cards to win, why isn't anyone playing Slaughter games? The reason for that is because it's kind of expensive. A 4-mana spell. And for what it's worth, they might be leaning on 1 or 2 cards, but Slaughter games only can get 1 of those cards, and you might even guess wrong. They might be leaning on a different card. For example, this Ad Nauseam deck, if you remember it from years past, they actually used to kill people with Conflagrate.
Yep.
So if you were to guess Lightning Storm, they have Conflagrate, or vice versa, your Slaughter games is quite poor.
But, you know, you can name Ad Nauseam, and it's going to be hard for this deck to win.
Brian Brondua, an interested observer here of this match between these 2 players. And Ken is going to take another mulligan. He's going down to 5. He's got to have a better draw than the last game.
This matchup is all about speed,
yeah.
As we saw there in the first game. And, you know, I don't exactly know the nature of Ken's hand game 1, but clearly no Infector, that's not going to cut it.
Sam Pardee picking up a W last round. He's playing Blue-Red Twin. That was our backup match. He's a former Modern champion. He won the Grand Prix in Portland. I know you unfortunately lost playing for top 8 there.
Yeah, that was my fault, though. I played really bad in the last round.
Just keep it here in the booth, man.
I know.
Stay up here. It's rough. It's rough down there.
And even more humiliating, it was mismanaging damage race against Lightning Bolts and Grim Levimancer. Yeah, it's a bad scene. It's a real bad scene.
It's not good. That's not good for you. For you specifically.
Yep.
That's not good.
Took too much damage off my own lands, and it was like the thing I've done to people a million times happened to me. Whatever. Only cost me 2 Pro Tour invites. Wasn't that big of a match. Not a huge deal.
Not a big deal. Ken with a W here will be on the cusp of qualifying for the Pro Tour, but he's on a mulligan to 5, and he's taking a long look at these 5 cards.
Yeah, for those of you watching, remember, at various points it's been top 4 gets invites, top 8 gets invites. Now 13 and 2, and you're good to go. Most likely some X and 2s will miss the top 8 rather because the tournament's so large, but everyone will qualify for the Pro Tour as a result.
I don't know if you can go any lower than 5. Yeah, he's going to just play a Dryad Arbor and pass a turn back. It seems to be a reluctant keep from Van Sciver. There's a Temple of Enlightenment for Elderfield.
I believe his hand currently contains Angel's Grace and Ad Nauseam.
That's the 1-2 punch.
But that's going to be a lot harder to execute this game. Remember, he's going to be playing against the spells and spell pierces.
Yep.
Before, Ken was just at the mercy of Darien's draws. Now he can play back a little bit. Though on 5 cards, it's going to be hard for him to have a sufficient clock with the protection he needs.
Yeah, he's going to need basically a perfect draw. Temple of Enlightenment Scry going to leave the card on top for Darien. We head back Ken's way. Windswept Teeth in hand, so at least he's got another land. There's a breeding pool there too, so it doesn't look like mana's going to be much of a problem here. It's just finding that critical mass of pump spells to get the job done. I'll tell you this much, we can't go that normal damage route. It's got to be infect damage.
Yeah,
here comes Dryad Arbor.
I think Ken may have passed the turn, or there may be some confusion here. I think Darien might have said, well, he motioned to pass the turn.
Yeah, if he did say go and then attack, there will be no damage done. That looks to be the case here, unfortunately for Ken. Here's Lotus Bloom.
And Lotus Bloom here is a huge draw for Darien because I believe mana was the bottleneck coming into this point. And now, 3 turns from now, he's going to have all the mana he needs and more.
His mana looks good to me. You see the Lotus Bloom, but now there's a Pentad Prism. 2 counters on that. Ken will sacrifice his Windswept Heath, get himself a breeding pool. Maybe a little flustered last turn due to the mulligans that he's had here. But Elderfield deck, it can fail to operate. Certainly possible. But we know his hand is quite good right now if he can make it to 5 mana. Actually 6, because of Angel's Grace. And Sciver will take a draw. Pendelhaven.
Yeah.
Here are the beatdowns. I don't think I've ever watched a match where an Infect deck never played an Infect creature.
Yeah, I want to see if we can get the monitor updated to say, for underneath Ken's name, to have Infect written in strike through.
Here we go. Finally.
All right, now we got something.
There's an attack for 2 regular damage. Inkmoth Nexus was the draw this turn. There we go. That looks a little more normal. Gonna charge up the Dreadship Reef, will Elderfield, but Lotus Bloom is already down to 1.
Second time we've seen the Reef on camera this weekend.
Yeah, it was very impressive for Christian Calcano yesterday against Luis Scott Vargas. There's a Seachrome Coast.
Yeah, blew up that mirror match wide open.
Yeah.
Huge mana advantage. Here for Darien is going to end up generating 1 extra mana. Most likely. I believe he's going to be able to use the Reef here at the end of the turn and then try to go wild next turn when his Lotus Bloom comes off suspend.
Second Lotus Bloom. There's a Wooded Foothills. Inkmoth Nexus, in combination with Pendelhaven, will get some infect damage through finally. Now there's a Blighted Agent too. Your hand is just kind of forced in this situation if you can. There's not really a lot you can do.
Well, the thing that he can do is keep up appearances. If he taps out for Blighted Agent here, Darien's going to kill him. There's going to be no incentive for Darien to hold back. If Ken leaves up some mana, maybe Darien says I should wait for a counterspell to go back off against him or something like that. But if Ken taps out and Darien's got it, that's it. There's no reason for Darien to hold back.
I think, yeah, I mean, I suppose trying to bluff here is better than just playing Blighted Agent.
The upshot is that Darien may not be able to go off right now, and you increase your clock by playing the Blighted Agent. But it looks like Ken wants to keep up appearances at least.
Lotus Bloom. It's going to come off a suspend. The other one's going to go down to 2. Darien's going to draw a card. Has Lightning Storm in hand. Ad nauseam as well. He's going to do a little bit of math here. Picked up a copy of Gemstone Mine. That'll be the land for the turn. He's just going to pass the turn back. He's not in a rush. Crack the fetch land. And I wouldn't be in a rush either.
Keep in mind that Darien's deck can go off at instant speed.
Yep.
He can Angel's Grace, or if he has First on Life and Play, into Ad Nauseam and do it all instant speed.
Yep.
So if Ken is ever just taps too low, tries to go for the kill inside of combat, Darien can respond and try to kill back. That is a unique element of this deck compared to a lot of the other combo decks where it involves sorceries, or with Twin it involves, interacting in combat. This is instant speed, you're dead.
And that's what we saw the last game too.
Yep. And Ken got paid off there by not playing the Blighted Agent. If he tapped out, Darien would have killed him.
Oh, absolutely.
Instead, Ken's at least got some shots at drawing a Dispel. And that could be a big help here.
Picked up a copy of Spell Pierce. That one's only okay. Elderfield has so much mana.
Yeah, that Spell Pierce is not what he needs right now. Earlier on, that would have been helpful, but you see there 5 lands in play plus a Lotus Bloom, Pentap Prism, a Reef going up to 3 counters. Spell Pierce is not going to do a whole lot here.
Activate that Inkmoth Nexus. Target it with Pendlehaven yet again. 2 more Infect than I come across. And I love the patience here from Elderfield. He's in no rush. As you mentioned, he can go off at instant speed. Breeding Pool's going to the battlefield untapped. And this might be the window that he's looking for. With Blighted Agent being cast and only 1 blue mana available, we might see Elderfield make a move now. He'll start by charging up the Reef.
Yeah, might as well get the mana for free here off the Reef and go into your main phase and go for it.
Looks like he picked up a copy of Darkness.
Spreading.
Yep. Still just passing the turn. Still in no rush. Another Spell Pierce.
Darkness is so sweet here because if Ken goes for the kill, Darien will cast Darkness. That will probably be good enough to get a Dispel out of Ken's hand, and then Darien can kill in response.
Time to fire up Inkmoth Nexus yet again. A pump. And the beatdowns.
Welcome to round 4.
It'll be for a total of 3 Infect. Up to 7 goes Elderfield. For Van Sciver, 3 Infect left to go. There's a Forest. And 2 copies of Spell Pierce in hand. Charge the Reef. And now Lotus Bloom will come off a suspend. You have to imagine this will be the turn. Copy of Serum Visions.
I mean, he's got enough mana at this point where he could cast a second Ad Nauseam if something happens to the first one. I like Darien's patience here. He, there's various points here where he could have gone for and said, I fold to Dispel. But because he's going to have so much mana and so many draw steps to work with, he's waiting for a better hand. Maybe he finds Passive Negation or some such, and then he knows he can go for it.
And he has access to 16 mana coming into this turn.
Yeah, he's got all the mana in the world that you could really need in this spot. He just wants to make sure that he has enough redundancy where something like a single Dispel doesn't cold him.
Glistener Elf was the draw. Fire up the Nexus. Pendlehaven will target. And perhaps we'll just see Darkness now. There's a land. Here's an attack. And I think this will be Darkness.
Spreading. We got a reader.
Perhaps Elderfield is just missing a piece here. Either missing a piece or just being extremely patient. One of the two. Just time-shifted fog.
Yeah. What, you've never seen this card or are not familiar with Shakespeare's measure
I
for
knew it.
measure.
He's using the old. He's using the old version too.
Yeah,
I
which
knew
is
it.
great.
Yeah, I knew it.
That's great.
Some charm to Elderfield's game. I can definitely appreciate that.
You know why? Because they're still pretty cheap. The Legends one isn't that expensive.
Yep. I imagine Ken is wondering, is this card actually legal?
Time
Yeah.
shifted.
Yep.
Squire also legal.
Brian Braunduin's favorite card. So the judges are going to take care of this and get the Oracle text ready here for Ken, I believe, just to confirm his suspicions that this is something that can happen.
It's possible. If I'm in Ken's spot, I've never seen this card before. I feel like it's possible it's worded in such a way that it doesn't prevent infect damage.
Sure.
So I would double check with the judge.
Well, that's what they're there for. That is for sure. Oh, here is darkness. There's the old one. I wonder, what is that a picture of exactly?
Darkness.
Okay.
It looks like a demon of some sort, and some other demons are running away. I'm not totally sure.
Either way, in our feature match area for the first and maybe last time ever, darkness resolves.
Yep. All right, it's in.
Here's a Glistener Elf. And passing of the turn again for Van Sciver. He's got 2 copies of Spell Pierce in hand. That's it. That's his only protection against an opponent who has a boatload of mana in play.
I think that Darien's had it rolled up the whole time and has just been waiting for another piece of protection or another ad nauseum.
Well, he's got no choice now. He has to
Yeah.
go for it. So here's Angel's Grace, which of course cannot be countered because it has split second. And now he's going to empty the Reef for 5 mana and play Ad Nauseam. Now in combination, Ad Nauseam in combination, with Angel's Grace, you just draw your whole deck.
Yeah.
You can't die.
The critical thing here is it doesn't say pay life, it says lose life.
Correct.
So cards like Angel's Grace and Phyrexian Life prevent you from dying here, allows you to draw your whole deck.
And as we saw in the last game, once you have your whole deck in your hand, you've got 3 Simian Spirit Guides. You got Pact Negations for protection and Lightning Storm to do your thing. So there's Spirit Guide number 1.
And this is a funny function about large card pools. We've been talking about that a lot. Part of the reason this deck is at all viable is that it's Simian Spirit Guide and not Elvish Spirit Guide, because it needs to generate red mana to be able to cast Lightning Storm. Even at detail that subtle is the difference between this deck being playable and potentially not being playable.
Even if it was a card like Conflagrate that you would use
Right.
as your win condition, it's important that it's red mana. And now here's the Lightning Storm, which of course is a red spell. And Elderfield's going to send all of this damage upstairs. And that is the weird roundabout kill condition of this Ad Nauseam deck. Spell Pierce is going to be cast. I have a feeling it will be paid for. The other Spell Pierce will be cast. I have a feeling that one will be paid for. And that is going to get the job done. Darien Elderfield is going to win this match here over Ken Van Sciver. 2-0. Ad Nauseam will take care of Infect. Van Sciver's draw they were pretty poor, unfortunately for him. Elderfields were quite good, and our Ad Nauseam player is up to 12-1 here in Charlotte.
And 1 win away from locking up a berth to the Pro Tour, worst case scenario. And I would imagine pretty strong tiebreakers at this point at 12-1. You still have some work left to do. 1-1 hopefully gets them into the top 8, but a very impressive performance here by what could charitably described as a rogue deck. I mean, this is not something that we discussed at all in the pregame show. Even when we were discussing the combo decks, it wasn't really something on our radar. I've run into it periodically on Magic Online, but I do like the addition of the temples to this deck very much. And this was not something that existed when I last played against this style of deck. Having insulation against discard spells, having a little bit more consistency on these turns where you don't have very much to do. It doesn't really hinder you too much to play a couple lands that come into play tapped. A little bit of extra consistency for a deck that has occasionally struggled with being able to assemble the pieces in time.
Congratulations again to